As above, so below. You've probably heard that phrase before, right? But what if it's not just some old saying? What if the patterns of the largest galaxies are secretly echoed inside our very own bodies? Today, we're diving deep into this single ancient idea. Let's find out just how far this rabbit hole goes. And really, our whole exploration kicks off with this one single line. It's from a super ancient text known as the Emerald Tablet. That which is below is like that which is above. I mean, just think about that. It's hinting at this profound, hidden symmetry in our reality. And honestly, it's the master key we're going to use to unlock everything we're about to talk about. So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is this just a beautiful piece of old world philosophy? Kind of poetic. Or is it something more? The sources we're looking at today suggest it could be a literal blueprint for reality. I'm talking an actual instruction manual for how the universe is put together. And that's the core mystery we're digging into. All right, so first things first. Before we jump into all the wild examples, we need to get a good handle on the principle itself. And let me just say, this is not some new age concept that popped up yesterday. No, this idea has fascinated some of the greatest minds for millennia. We're talking everyone from ancient mystics to the absolute pioneers of modern science. Okay, so here's the idea in a nutshell. You have the macrocosm, that's the really big stuff, right? Galaxies, stars, whole solar systems. Then you have the microcosm, the super small stuff. Cells, atoms, our own bodies. The principle of as above, so below says they both operate on the exact same fundamental patterns. It's like one is just a zoomed in or zoomed out version of the other. And believe me, this idea has been around for a long time. Its origins might go all the way back to ancient Egypt. We know for sure it pops up in Arabic texts from more than 2,000 years ago. But get this, it was considered so profound that Sir Isaac Newton, yeah, the Isaac Newton, the guy who basically invented modern physics, he actually made his own personal translation of it. I mean, if that doesn't tell you this concept has some serious staying power, I don't know what does. Okay, so now that we've got the history, let's take this ancient philosophy and actually apply it. We're going to look up, way up to the above. Because according to the sources we're exploring, the cosmos itself might just hold the most mind-blowing piece of evidence for this entire principle. So what is this evidence? Well, the sources we're looking at propose something pretty radical. They claim that the most spectacular show in our sky, the total solar eclipse, is not just some random cosmic accident. Not at all. And the idea goes even deeper than that. They suggest that this perfect, incredible alignment is actually a form of intentional communication, a message, one that was deliberately embedded in the sky for us to find, almost like a giant cosmic signpost. But hold on a second. Before we get too carried away, you have to ask the obvious question, right? Is a total solar eclipse really that special? I mean, just how improbable is this so-called perfect alignment anyway? Well, let's break it down because it's kind of mind-boggling. First off, we have one sun and one moon. That alone isn't a given in the universe. Second, our moon is the exact right size and at the exact right distance to perfectly block out the sun. A perfect fit. But here's the real kicker. This is a temporary show. The moon is actually slowly moving away from the Earth, which means the dinosaurs, they couldn't see a perfect eclipse like this. And generations way in the future, they won't be able to either. It's this incredible, fleeting spectacle that was never even necessary for life to evolve here. So this is where our sources make their biggest, most provocative claim, that this unbelievably improbable cosmic alignment is happening now for a reason. The argument is that it's timed perfectly for a critical moment, a major turning point in human history. It's not a coincidence, they say. It's guidance. All right, now let's pull our focus way, way back down. From the vast cosmic above, let's zoom all the way into the intimate below. I'm talking about the human body, because according to this principle, it too is a perfect reflection of these much larger patterns. Now, to really get this next part, we need to understand a quick concept from science called fractals. And it's actually pretty simple. A fractal is just a geometric shape where the same pattern repeats itself over and over again, at different scales. The best example is a tree, right? A big branch looks like a tiny version of the whole tree, and a little twig on that branch looks like a mini version of the branch. The pattern is the same, whether you're zoomed way out or way in. Okay, so what if we apply that same fractal logic to ourselves? Could the entire human body be the whole pattern? with one of its own systems acting like a smaller, repeating version of that pattern? Well, one of our sources presents a really fascinating and, yeah, pretty bold analogy to show exactly how that might work. So, check this out. This table lays out the whole analogy. On the left, the macro structure, you've got the whole body. And on the right, for the micro analogy, you've got the male reproductive system. Now look at the shared principles. The upright posture of the whole body, mirrored in the micro analogy. The head, our main control center, it has a parallel. And look at this. The brain, with its two hemispheres creating the life code of our thoughts, is said to be reflected in the part that physically produces the code for life. I mean, it's a pretty striking and definitely provocative example of that self-similarity we were just talking about. Okay, we've gone from the cosmic to the physical. Now we're going to go to the deepest below there is, the internal world of our own consciousness. The question is, does this pattern, this fractal repetition, hold up even in there? And the argument here is that this whole thing isn't just about physical shapes and anatomy. No, this principle of repeating patterns is said to extend into our thoughts, into our behaviors, into our entire journey through life. You know, one of our sources has this quote that just nails it. The hamster wheel looks, from the inside, like a career ladder. Think about that. We can get trapped in these endless repetitive cycles, right? These unconscious patterns that feel like we're making progress, but in reality, we're just spinning our wheels, going nowhere. It's the psychological pattern of just being stuck. But there's another pattern available to us, and that's the pattern of transformation. It's the journey of actually breaking that cycle, of evolving, of shedding that old self. This is about making a conscious choice to change, a real metamorphosis from one way of being to a completely new one. All right, so let's zoom back out and pull all these different threads together. I mean, think about it. We've journeyed from an ancient cryptic tablet all the way to the stars, and then all the way back down into our own anatomy, and even into the landscape of our minds. What we've really seen here is one single core idea, as above, so below, and how it seems to echo consistently across three totally distinct scales of reality: the cosmic, the biological, and the psychological. So let's just recap the journey we just took, right? We started with this ancient principle, this idea of correspondence. Then, we looked up and saw how it could be interpreted as a cosmic message, a blueprint in the sky. After that, we brought it right down to Earth, finding a potential fractal reflection in our own bodies. And finally, we saw how that same pattern might be at work in our conscious journey of transformation. And all of that, it brings us to one final, really provocative question that these sources leave us with. If the patterns in the sky, in our bodies, and in our minds truly are reflections of one another, and if this isn't all just one massive, grand coincidence, then what is the message? What are these patterns trying to tell us right here and right now?